Well, then, boys, let's get to the college football playoff national championship. Michigan versus Washington, 5:30 Mountain, 6:30 Central. Michigan 4.5 point favorites here. Mich- this is where I said at the beginning of the year. This is where I said Michigan was going to be playing for the national title. They were gonna. I had them beating Georgia, but it's not Georgia. It's Washington, a tremendous team,
Hey,
best quarterback.
they're still facing a dog school with a mascot.
They're still facing a dog school. Correct. Probably the two most consistent teams all season. So it is fitting that they play for a national title. National title. On paper, I think Michigan is the better team. But I would also say Washington will have the best player on the field in Michael Penix Jr. Matchup wise, though, I like how this matches up for Michigan. Washington struggled to stop the run all season, and they gave up 7 yards a carry to Texas. If I think Michigan is able to run the ball, control the clock, keep Michael Penix off the field because he's not going to hurt you if he's sitting there watching the ball on the sideline. And I think Washington played really well, played as good as they've been, kind of what they've been all season. And Michigan left a lot to be desired. They played abysmal on special teams. The offense disappeared at times. Even defensively, there were a couple of missed tackles here. But if we really want to get nitpicky with the defense, and maybe Michigan feels like maybe they're saving their best game for last. Defensively, it's strength versus strength. They're going up against the Joe Moore Award, and Michigan's they're 4 deep on the defensive end, 4 deep at the tackles. They've got good linebackers, good corners. The Roma Dunze Will Johnson matchup is going to be very interesting to see how Michigan does. I don't know if they're going to try and bracket him or play zone. I think when you've seen Washington struggle in the middle of the season, it was a lot where Michigan or teams were rushing only 3 guys, and they were dropping 8, and Michael Penix struggled to find somebody. And that was when they went back more to Dillon Johnson running the ball, and that kind of brought those safeties back down a little bit and let the Washington go and stretch the field. But Dillon Johnson is questionable right now. We're going to see if he can go. They are saying that they expect him to play. The X-rays were negative, but we're not. We'll find out and see how that goes. But ball control, I think, is going to be key for Michigan. Don't turn the ball over. Don't give Washington any short fields. And, if they're able to stick with the run, use that run to open up the pass, play that complementary football, allow J.J. McCarthy to throw the ball downfield, let those receivers get open, catch the Washington safeties and corners, their eyes in the backfield, letting a receiver go free. And, defensively for Michigan, it's been what I've said for most of the years. Washington's going to move the field. They're a tremendous team. They're going to make plays. They practice too. But let them move the ball 20-20. But in the red zone, make them settle for field goals. Win on first and second down, especially down there where they have to get the ball in obvious passing situations, and let Michigan tee off and go after the quarterback where they have to force him into a bad throw, maybe get an interception or incomplete pass, which isn't a bad thing in this game. So I'll let you guys go through what some of your keys to the game are, and then after that, we'll bring it back and do our predictions.
Dylan, you mentioned my first big one, like, can Washington stop the run? Can they get the ball back? The other side of that, though, is I don't think time of possession is going to be as big in this game. I think Michigan needs to limit the explosive plays. Washington had 10-plus explosive plays versus Texas the other night. That's minimum 200 yards just right there. That's honestly probably what's going to decide the game right there. Can they limit them? Michigan only had 6 versus Alabama. Can they get more? Can J.J. McCarthy make those big plays like Michael Penix was doing versus Texas? And I feel like a lot of Michigan's was scheming-wise, where Washington is after the catch. Can these receivers get the ball down the field for Michigan? Can they actually make some guys miss to get those big chunk plays? Corum's going to bust a couple off. Berkeley Edwards has Edwards has a chance to break a couple too. But those guys on the outside from Michigan need to find ways to get these bigger plays to not make it such longer possessions. Because I don't think the possession's going to matter. I think it's who makes the biggest plays here. And then the second one, Michigan needs to generate a pass rush without blitzing. Penix will kill them if they blitz every single time like they did that left guard on Alabama. I don't see that working versus Washington. Penix is just too elusive, and he just controls the pocket so well that I think it's going to be hard for them to blitz him consistently like they did Alabama.
Yeah, and to your point with Ethan with about the time of possession, you're absolutely correct. And with that, if Michigan's going to want to take the air out of the ball and go on those 7-8 minute drives, they have to come away with touchdowns. They can't settle for field goals because that puts the pressure back on Washington to try to match them.
And yeah, Ethan, I think to your point, your last point you brought up, where if Michigan's going to bring the pressure, they got to do it without blitzing. I think Michigan will bring 5 to 6 guys at times, but I think this is where Jesse Mitchell's time in the NFL comes in to be a factor, because it's going to be a lot like what Spags is doing. Washington might be on their their right hash. Michigan's going to blitz from the left. They're going to bring guys from multiple different spots where they're going to confuse Penix. These are looks he's not going to be. He hasn't seen all year with that. And then also, do these Washington receivers know where their hot is? Where Oduzier can say, hey, I'm on the slot here. My corner's coming. Does Penix have trust in me that I can sit down in this zone, or do I keep running to get my head taken off? So I think I like Michigan's advantage there in the aspect where they have NFL defensive coaches where they've seen these route combinations before. Jesse Mitchell's played the Kansas City Chiefs. He's played the New England Patriots. He's played Sean McVay in the Rams. He's seen stuff like this, so he should be able to scheme up some looks where he can get home, but then also disguise the coverage and back where it's something maybe Michael Penix hasn't seen before. And then Dylan, kind of like what I talked about earlier tonight, I think Michigan needs to continue with the 11 personnel. 1 back, a tight end, and 2 to 3 wide receivers to kind of continue to loosen up that Washington defense, just like what Texas did, where you can still run the ball with Edwards and Corum, but you're doing it against a light box, where Washington only has 5 guys in there. They only have 6 guys in there. There's 3 defensive linemen, where if we're running to the left, I don't need to block this backside defensive end. I can get 2 double teams, and you know what? If he crashes hard on Corum and Blake, JJ's got legs. I'm going to pull it, and I'm going to get 5 yards, and I'm going to slide. And then another thing that I thought Michigan did real well last game was using Corum in the passing game, because with all his rushing touchdowns he's had, I'm not going to worry about him coming out of the backfield catching balls. And I understand that's my biggest gripe each week. I'm like, how are we not covering eligible receivers as a running back? So I think Michigan has to continue to get him the ball in open spaces and using concepts where, they just have 2 receivers running a drag route to the left and we sneak Corum out to the right where he's open right there. But again, Washington, one of their advantages is that offensive line, like you said, Dylan. It's a lot like last year's Super Bowl. Michigan is just like Philadelphia. They have a better team. They have an awesome pass rush. But Washington has the better quarterback. And if this offensive line can keep him upright and this Michigan secondary has to cover for 3 to 4 or 5 seconds, it's going to be a long day, for Michigan in that aspect. And also, I think big thing for Washington is tackling in space and tackling because, Corum, like Ethan said, Corum's going to break a couple. He's going to have one-on-one matchups with linebackers 3 to 4 to 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. They need to make those tackles right away. And if they don't, they can't bring him down, and these big uglies are able to come behind Blake and give him a big push, they're going to lean and lean and lean, and then those long drives are going to turn into touchdowns. So Washington has to tackle well, and they have to play well in the box with that. I'm excited for this game, and I think it's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
and it's probably the two best head coaches, or two of the three best coaches in the country, and they're going to make adjustments and they're going to be ready to play. And these coaches aren't going to be nervous, and I don't think either one is going to make a boneheaded decision.
I certainly hope not. And if there is a coach that makes the boneheaded decision, I hope it's the Washington head coach here. But boys, what do we got for predictions here? Who wins on Monday night?
Well, I went last time, so I'll continue the snake order.
True.
I have Michigan 31, Washington 26.
I have. I'm going with Mr. Augustin himself. I'm going with Washington 31 to 18.
Wow. All right. Two possessions.
Away.
Okay. Well, for me, I've said from the beginning, I think this is the team that wins the national title for Michigan. They've been the best team all season, no matter what has happened, whether the NCAA trying to suspend Harbaugh for a cheeseburger or coward little man Tony Petitti stepping in because Ohio State said, "Oh, they're taking signals. Yeah, I'm crying Ryan Day," and tried to tear this team apart. And it's only brought them closer together. And they love playing together. They will love being with each other, and they're going to play for each other. And their backs have been put against the wall throughout this season, whether it be what I've said, the suspensions, the accusations, they've had their backs against the wall, and all they have done is just silence the critics. They've kept punching back. They've had most of their wins have been dominating, and outside of two games that have been were one possession games, I think Michigan has the advantage up front. They have the advantage in the run game. I think they're going to be able to control the game on the ground and get enough stops on defense to get their first national title since 1997. I like Michigan 35-27.